there is something that happened on Thursday, and it's only happened twice this year. So it's something we need to talk about. Is it something we panic about? No. It's definitely worth noting that the uptrend is still intact, and what happened on Thursday is not the new normal. In fact, if I told you over the course of over 3 months of trading so far this year, a Thursday type candle has only happened twice, and we can measure it, and why did it feel so crazy? Let's get right into it. First of all, on Thursday, we had actually 3 FOMC chuckleheads. That's what the C stands for, just in case you didn't know. So with these 3 FOMC members speaking, the last one at 2 p.m. was FOMC member Meester. Now remember, the markets are already getting a lot of chatter coming from the other 2 speaking engagements. Here comes the third, second half of the day, and everyone remembers right about 2 p.m. Eastern, the sell-off began. The sell-off itself, look, we've had sell-offs throughout, we've had weakness, we've had bearishness on specific candles throughout the year. But what made Thursday so different? It exceeded the 68% probability. All right. Now, I was in the Sector Secrets Mastery Room this morning, and some of our members were talking to each other, and they say, "Did you feel that? Did you feel that? We had an earthquake." I know some of you, I hope everyone's safe, hope everything's fine, but we had an earthquake. Unbelievable in the upper Northeast. That's kind of what happened Thursday in the markets. So what happens during an earthquake? You're just making sure everyone's safe. You're trying to make sure everything's intact, that everyone's okay. You're not running around trying to, Facebook Live the event, right? You're playing defense. That's what Thursday was. Thursday is not a day that says anything more than there was an earthquake. So the same members in the mastery, I said, "Hey, how are you all doing?" Everyone's fine. I said, "What are you doing tonight?" Everyone says, "We're kicking back with a cold one. We're going out to dinner. We're going to go see a movie," right? Life goes on. And that's exactly what happened from Thursday to Friday this week. Earthquake, outside the 68% probability of typical action. This has only happened twice this year. What happened today? Life goes on. We still have an overall strong S&P. We had a absolute huge jobs number. And then additionally, the expectations for rate cuts. And please don't buy into any narrative that says that we have, here we go, let me go to the rate cuts thing. There we go. Please don't buy into any narrative that says we're not going to see cuts. That is not in the data. The smartest traders who focus on what the Federal Reserve is going to do next are here in the Fed Fund futures. Just like we have bond traders and oil traders, we have Fed Fund futures traders as well. And they are still factoring in a very high probability that by July or September, we are 1 to 2 quarter points in to the cutting cycle from the FOMC. Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve see this data. They're not about to buck this data. And if Jerome doesn't like what he sees, he will talk expectations down. He's had numerous opportunities throughout the last month to talk these down, and he has chose not to, which tells us that these expectations are on track, right? Really important to study the data. And that's why the equity markets continue to be as resilient as they are. Okay, we had this 68% probability day, right? But that's okay. The last one, by the way, was on the 13th of February. On the 13th of February. Those are the only 2 that have happened this year. And the reason I know that is we have this, let's call it something fancy. I have this algorithm. This is the daily price movement ranges running on my charts. And this is how, the gold and the gray zone, this is how we know when we're outside the norm. When we're outside the gold and gray, it is abnormal action. It is the earthquake, right? And then today, right back to normal, right back to within those zones. And this is not the only place it happened. We had something similar in a very strong piece of the S&P, the financials. This is the number 2 weighted sector in the S&P. Again, earthquake, today, right back to sitting within that calculation, the algorithm of the volatility, the historical volatility of the financials. So we've only seen this a couple of times. Please don't calibrate to that's the new normal. In fact, Friday shook that off. And the mere fact that the equity markets were able to hang on to most of their gains, when you look at the S&P futures, the Dow futures, tells us a lot about how important or maybe unimportant yesterday's price action really was. A lot of times, the 5 major types of algorithms, they're going to go into overdrive outside the 68% probability, and that's where things get as volatile as they do. So we know what exacerbates it, like kerosene, pouring kerosene on the fire. Today, there's no kerosene, gang, right back to normal. So something important did happen. It's not the new normal. We're going to continue on with the overall expectation of buying the dips. Once we get past this volatility window, which it seems today has proven we have, and we'll focus on where the strength in this environment is. And by the way, if you're wondering, okay, Rog, what has that analysis, focusing on the long side, focusing on the daily price movement ranges, what has that yielded this year, right? We want consistency. We want account growth. That's what everybody says. I'm going to talk about that. And here's what we've been doing so far with this approach in the Sector Secrets Mastery. And on Wednesday, this Wednesday at 8 p.m., we're going to jump into, what are these 5 types of algorithms? How are they exacerbating price action? How do we deal with these problems of sometimes days like Thursday? And can we continue looking to buy the dip? We're going to talk about that and a lot more on Wednesday, 8 p.m. You can register at toptierprosystem.com. I'll see you then. Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.